In this video, I'm gonna fix 5 different machines. We're gonna do the 97 4Runner that we got in another video. We're gonna fix my buddy's riding lawnmower. Then we're gonna fix my Toyota pickup that I rebuilt the motor in the previous weeks. And we're gonna take that for its first long test drive, which is a little nerve-wracking. And then I'm gonna switch to a 2013 Dodge Dart. And I'm gonna finish up with a weed whacker that somebody dropped off for me to take a look at. So a wide range of stuff. We're even gonna make some artwork in this video. So stay tuned, let's see if we can get this 97 Toyota 4Runner's transmission functioning properly. Now when I first got this Toyota 4Runner, I knew that it had a bad transmission. That's why I bought it. So worst case scenario, I'm gonna have to source a new transmission for this thing. The symptom is that when you put it in D for drive and you hit the gas, it acts like it's in 3rd or 4th gear. And if you put it in L for low, it will clunk into 1st gear and act normally. So I think that it's just the shift solenoid that's not functioning properly, and I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that if I put a new set in, that we'll have regular functionality when I put it in drive. Let's see how this goes. It's a risk, it's a gamble. Worst case scenario, I'll have to get a new transmission for it, but I really don't want to have to do that. So let's try solenoids, fluids, and filters first. Oh. Oh. Yes! Immediately yes. No way. Oh. Yes! First gear? Yeah. Oh, dog. That is so exciting that I don't have to source and swap an entire transmission for this thing. And this unit is pretty sweet. I love the 97's look. It looks kind of like a Land Cruiser in this era. They're so sick. So now that it's running and shifting into first, let's gas it up and head over to my buddy's house where his riding mower needs a new carburetor. Okay, this mower seems to be running much better. I'm gonna stick around and mow his lawn for a little while to make sure that my handyman work actually holds up to the test of functionality here for a while. Yum. Okay, now that we're back at the house, I'd like to switch to my 94 Toyota pickup. If you haven't been following along, in previous weeks, I got this truck, trailered it home, and found that it had milkshake oil. The reason that it had milkshake oil is because there was a crack in the timing cover. The crack in the timing cover was because the timing guides had failed and the chain was slapping across the cover's face and opened a hole between the oil system and the water system. In that mixture, the whole thing lost lubrication. So the whole top end of the cylinder head and the bearings and a bunch of places where you need oil to be lubricating, everything had failed. It was catastrophic. So what I originally had hoped was just gonna be a head gasket, turned out to be getting an entirely new cylinder head and swapping all of the bearings in the lower end. Now I had the entire motor in pieces and I put it all back together, and that makes me a little bit nervous because I still need to take this truck on a long test drive. I've taken it on like small, short ones around my property and up and down my street, but today we're gonna try and see if this thing can actually make a proper drive all the way to town and back. So to test the truck to see if it can do this long distance, we're gonna load the bed up with all this garbage for a big dump run, driving a half an hour there and a half an hour back. And it makes me pretty nervous, and I don't want to break down. You know, anything could happen. I just rebuilt this motor, so we could spring a coolant leak because I missed one of the hose clamps. It could be anything. We could lose power from this dead battery. I originally got this battery with the truck, and it's been problematic. So I'm gonna bring as much of the recovery materials as I can. We got jumper cables, air compressors. I'm gonna fill up 5 gallons of water to bring with us. We're gonna bring all of that in the truck with us so that we're self-reliant in case anything happens on the road. All right, we got it loaded up, we got it fixed up. Let's send this thing on the road and see if we can make it to the dump and back in one piece. Each time that I fire this thing back up after stopping, the battery is getting weaker and weaker. I think the main thing I'm gonna have to do here is jumpstart the battery, but that's not that big a deal. So far so good with the motor, no leaks. I think we're gonna be able to make it. So One thing that I've wanted to do since breaking this down is, since I had milkshake oil in the oil passages and in the cooling system, so I'm gonna drain all the water that's in it. I'm also gonna add this degreasing solution that I've got here, and we're gonna run it for a little while to try to degrease the cooling system. Drive the truck for a little while, then we'll drain that out and we'll refill with proper coolant. All right, now that she's plumb full of proper coolant, I'm gonna go ahead and try to detune this idle air control system. I think what happened was the previous owner was having engine problems, obviously, and I think he just opened up this valve wide open, and that's why I've been having this high idle. The idle's been sitting at like 1800 RPMs, and I really want it at like 750. So I'm gonna crank this thing back down, and hopefully that solves my problem. Well, I think that did the trick. She's idling and purring nicely now. I'm gonna switch gears to looking at this side mirror. I saw on the ride home that it was kind of flapping in the wind, and yeah, this thing is loose as a goose. Let's get this all tightened up. So the mechanism on the inside, I think, is missing a spring, and when I tried to add a spring back into the system, it didn't really work. I ended up just using washers and a new bolt, and I was kind of adding washers until it finally had the amount of bite and tension so that the whole thing would kind of cinch together. Well, now that I've got the 94 Toyota pickup where I want it, I'm gonna take a little break and make some artwork. I'm actually a painter. I've been painting my whole life, and today I'm gonna switch it up and we're gonna do an homage to this truck. I pulled a screenshot from a clip that you'll see at the end of this segment, and I'm gonna lay in this background color, take a quick break for a little bit more coffee, and then start to paint our 94 Toyota pickup that I've been fixing over the last few weeks. So if you've been following along, this might be a fun painting for you to have. If you enjoy the way that it looks, drop me an email at parkerdetchen@gmail.com and I'd be happy to sell it to you. So the problem with this thing has been that when you fire it up and you drive around, it's rumbling like crazy. Like, it seems like the whole motor itself is rumbling in a way that's indicative of the motor mounts having gone bad. I've seen this before, and usually I take the risk on starting with this passenger side upper mount. I think I'm just gonna start on that one and see if it solves the problem, go from there. I got the whole kit. It comes with 3, which is like the driver's side one and the transmission mount, but let's just start with passenger side and see if it fixes the problem. Now, this is a pretty easy installation. I did opt not to take out this coolant reservoir just because I thought that it'd make a big mess, and I feel like I can push this out of the way in order to get this mount secured. sounds great. The rumbling is totally gone. I'm just gonna take it for a quick test drive, make sure that that's the case when it's running under load, and it seems to be good. So now I'm gonna switch to fixing its washer pump. So when you use the windshield wipers little spray function, there's no water coming forward. So I opted to just get a new pump, install it. It's a pretty simple little swap. Let's get this thing in and see if that fixes it. Even though I swapped the pump, it's still not spraying water, so I'm gonna have to investigate further and see where this thing is losing its pressure. Yep, okay, so there was a break right in the line before this nozzle. I'm gonna need a whole new nozzle itself. The plastic is all broken. In the meantime, I'm just gonna jerry-rig a little solution here and make it functional, at least in the meantime, while I wait on parts. I'm gonna take a quick break and head over to the beach, catch some surf, and explore the Southside beaches, which are beautiful this time of year. It's very relaxing, and I hope you guys enjoy this Hawaii beach segment, wherever you may be. All right, well, I got home and now it's time to work on this weed whacker that somebody dropped off for me to look at for them. I've got a tune-up kit that I'm gonna end up installing on this thing to try to diagnose what's going wrong with it, but let's start with the basics, spray some fuel into it, test for spark, and see what's going wrong with this weed whacker. I've been pulling on this pull string hundreds of times. Honestly, I threw my shoulder out because I was pulling on this thing so much, and it just does not want to go no matter what I do. I've got the carb kit installed with a fresh spark plug that has spark. We've got fuel air spark. I think honestly the only thing that's left on this project is unfortunately compression. Now when I went to do a compression test, I did first the most basic one where you just put your thumb over the spark plug hole, and there was some compression popping my thumb off. When I kept pulling on this thing and it still wouldn't start, I opted to pull my actual compression tester out, but the depth of the compression tester needs to go further in because it's made for cars, not these smaller motors. So it wouldn't fit all the way in. Now that I'm realizing that it's the only thing left, I think that the test that I'll have to do here is kind of an old mechanics trick where you fill the cylinder with lubrication. So in this case, I'm gonna put in some spray lubrication and a little bit of assembly lube, which is kind of thicker. And what that'll do is it'll add compression for me using those fluids by sealing up the piston ring to the side of the cylinder bore. And that will add compression. So if this thing runs after I've filled it up like this, then we know this motor has bad compression. Oh, it is compression. Lo and behold, there it is. Now, one test I'm gonna try to do here is to keep it running. And maybe, just maybe, the cylinder ring could just be seized, and by running it for a little while, getting it hot, it might free up and we could regain the compression that this motor had lost. Well, unfortunately, when I let go of the throttle and went to restart it again, this thing still is not working. So I think this thing broke a piston ring and that's why it lost compression. So unfortunately, this thing's toast. Well, I'm done fixing stuff, so I'm gonna pay a visit to my garden, and the summer season has been amazing in the garden. We've got tons of flowers and vegetables growing, and it's been a beautiful thing to see everything kind of popping off and giving us food out of the garden. Now that I've been working hunched over all day, I think what I'll do is jump in my inversion table. If you guys don't know about inversion tables, 10 out of 10, highly recommend. You go upside down and it completely offsets all of that hunched over low back tension. I spend 5 minutes on one of these things and it relieves all of the pain of the entire day. So get one of your own if you don't have it already. Well, thank you guys so much for watching today's video of me fixing all these different projects. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing so that you can follow along on my journey as I enjoy fixing stuff, exploring Hawaii, challenging myself to learn new things as a self-taught mechanic, and I appreciate it so much. We'll see you guys next week.